This is a Nekko Media podcast.
What's your pleasure, sir?
Welcome, cinephiles and Cenobites. Welcome to episode 9. Here we go again. Part 2. Did everyone have a horrific Christmas? Well, I hope so. The Labyrinth held its annual chain drive. 5 chains for the admission of 1 soul. It was hell of a time. Anyway, you know me, the incredible Annika P. Mother of Grendel, bringer of chains, fucker faces, and wait a minute! Eggnog consumer. Hell yes.
I've been drinking eggnog since Thanksgiving.
You too? Holy crap. My New Year's resolution, drink more eggnog.
Yep.
Y'all still need introductions? I guess. Go ahead, boys. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Mox at Who Gives a Fuck. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Anofre. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for stopping by. Hope everyone got what they wanted for Christmas. What'd you get?
A bottle of single malt scotch, a bit of money, and a hunting knife, but mostly just exercise stuff. I think they're trying to tell me something. I just can't figure out what.
Well, I got a couple shirts, DVDs, just the little things are enough for me.
Resolutions for the upcoming year?
And the same as usual, eat healthier, work out, watch more movies, write more music. How about you?
Resolutions? Smoking is a bitch. You're my hero for quitting and being G around me chaining out clouds. Quitting might be a bit ambitious, so maybe just cutting out carbs and getting back into tennis. A few sit-ups wouldn't hurt.
Damn, y'all sound boring. Eating healthier? I eat what I want when I want.
Yeah, that's why you look the way you do. Garfield in leather pants.
Excuse me?
I hate Mondays. Lay off the lasagna, sister.
It's about to turn into a battle royale in this bitch.
Just chill, P. You look good. Just some post-Christmas dinner humor. Just chill.
It is the holidays and all. Keep talking that shit, someone's gonna get clawed up the ass.
Yeah, we don't want that. I don't know, maybe Ono does.
So what you got on today's episode? I hope y'all kept that animated shit to a minimum.
For our Slashtag configuration, we got a Star Wars story, Rogue One. For our kicking and streaming, we'll touch base on Mark Hamill's pop culture quest and the Jungle Book. On Secular Insanity, I'll talk on The Thing, the 2011 prequel, dedicated to our homie John at Don't Go Down That Road podcast. It's his favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, it is.
He loves it.
On the shortest straw, I have the sci-fi short Prospect. On our Schrody's Ladder, we'll talk a little on prequels, but our main focus will be on the Prometheus movie and its place in the Alien timeline, what we might expect in the upcoming Alien Covenant, and how it will all end. And our Ceno 6 sequels we feel are much superior to the originals.
Not in every case. Some, for mine, are just as good as the original.
Alright, a short while ago on a podcast far, far away. Nerf herders, Slashtag configuration.
Alright, welcome to this special Slashtag configuration. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most anticipated films
Of the year.
Kind of, sorry. Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yep, that it was. Just a story.
Yeah, directed by Gareth Edwards, written by Chris Weitz, Tony Gilroy. It stars Felicity Jones.
What do we know her from? She looks familiar.
She was in The Theory of Everything.
Oh, that's Hawking's girlfriend wife.
Yeah. We also have Diego Luna, Alan Tudyk, Donnie Yen, Wen Jiang, Whitaker. Because it's spelled, there's a taker in there. There's taker.
Like wit and then taker?
Yeah.
Okay, I think you just blurred the T's.
Whitaker.
Whitaker.
Okay. Yeah. And Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen. I love that dude.
And we get a few, I would say, cameos or kind of shoutouts from just little bit parts like Jimmy Smits.
Oh yeah.
Got the Organa guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this movie, Star Wars, we don't get any of that in this one. It's a spin-off.
We get weird music that plays off the same key and progression-ish.
Yeah, it's like you'd hear it every now and then. It's like, okay.
It made me laugh. The beginning, right? It
Yeah.
opens. It's so dramatic. You're expecting words, and then it says "beep" planet, and some kind of rings around a planet.
I'm like, okay. Oh, interesting. But Rogue One, a Star Wars story. What is there to say? Okay, so brief summary. I'm sure everyone knows, but if you don't know what this movie is about, it is a
Then
prequel.
you better ask somebody. It happens between episode 3 and episode 4.
I heard it takes place days before A New Hope.
Well,
And I guess it said 5 years after Star Wars Rebels. I don't know what that is.
the cartoon.
I think so. Yeah. So days before. Yeah. I mean, throughout the movie, I was hoping what point in the movie where it's gonna overlap.
Barely.
Yeah. But it's entirely an original story. We're introduced to a whole new set of characters.
Whole new band of motley heroes.
Yeah, and like, I guess a more aggressive rebellion.
Well, that's Forrest Whitaker's
Well,
rebels.
they're the difference between them.
They're the extremists.
Extremists, like, they'll
They're the Taliban.
yeah, like yeah, like the for real guys, I guess. But they do a lot of traveling, and instead of swipes,
Oh yeah, they didn't have the
Yeah.
white transition
Yeah,
that
like-
Star Wars made famous. That I feel they did.
they'll actually tell you where you are, what planet.
Oh yeah, that didn't happen in.
Yeah. Like,
That would have been helpful.
because
coming
then
up.
the characters will just mention it, but then they'll tell you, okay, we're
But
at
you
Yavin
never
right now.
established. Right?
Yeah, Yavin
On
4,
Naboo.
Scarif, yeah.
Oh yeah, well maybe they did that this one because they're in like 85 different locations throughout the movie.
They are.
27 of them come within the first 2 minutes.
Yeah. So basically, Felicity Jones' character, she's the daughter of the main, I guess, say, engineer of the Death Star, and
Played by Mads Mikkelsen.
yeah, and so the whole movie is about getting the plans.
He
will-
built a failsafe into the Death Star. It's that thing that Luke Skywalker guys and the Red Team blew out in A New Hope.
Oh yes. So he's responsible for making that.
Yeah.
So,
So if you ever look back on episode 4 and be like, the most powerful weapon in the universe, and it gets destroyed, but all you gotta do is like throw a wrench into a hole
yeah,
on the thing. Well, the reason is its purpose.
it was made on purpose.
Of course, it probably was backward engineered because they've had like 40 years to come up with a reason why that was so easy.
Yes. But there's Jedi in this one too, or just one Jedi, but the Force is still there. And
Are you counting Donnie Yen? Because I'm not. Was he a Jedi? I didn't see him do no Force, nothing. I think he's just a wannabe.
wannabe.
I mean, he's badass, but he's basically, fucking Jeremy Renner in Avengers.
Oh.
Like if you were running with real Jedi,
Oh, like yeah, because we didn't see him like
he has
float
no Force powers.
Yeah, he wasn't like throwing.
But he
stuff
is a
with
blind sticksman.
He can be like Stick from Daredevil.
Oh yeah, he's Chinese Stick from Daredevil.
That's
But
it.
he has a sunnier disposition. He actually, this is one of his least dark characters that Donnie Yen has portrayed.
Oh, okay. In American cinema.
Well, even in
Oh, a less darker.
his
for sure.
least dark characters, yeah, he's usually a brooding, badass type. You know, he's the John McClane of Chinese.
Alright. Oh, okay. Yeah, put him in a scenario.
Actually, Ip Man wasn't that dark though, but he was a badass motherfucker.
Only if he had to be, right?
Well, when the time the fucking Chinese friends was getting killed for rice, he went off on those whole guys, all black belts and all.
Right. Rogue One. In this one, we get to see Imperial walkers take action in a more tropical setting.
Yeah.
Instead of the
Feels out
snow.
of place, but yeah. We get to see X-Wings, TIE fighters.
Yeah, we're introduced to a blue group. Blue leader.
Yeah, the reason I guess we didn't... Well, I won't say. Damn it.
What happened?
Yeah, so there's a red team, there's a gold team, and there is a blue team. And he is led by the priest from Exorcist, Father Marcus.
Is that him? Oh.
You haven't seen it yet, yeah? Season 1.
Oh, the TV show.
The TV show, yeah.
Okay.
No, Father Marion is like, would have been 300 years old by now. He died.
But the movie, it's got a really good tempo. It doesn't drag.
It does. It's a little bit fast at the beginning, but as a friend of ours mentioned, it's maybe because they're thinking nobody's really paying attention in the first 5 minutes. There are so many jumps from one establishing to another. Like you just found out this one planet, now you're in this other planet with this whole new group of people.
Yeah, and this family was part of the Imperial.
They were Imperial soldiers, Imperial officers. He was a science officer, I believe.
But yeah, I mean, you find out his reasoning for it later. But it's very action based. I mean, we get to see a lot of new stormtroopers in this one.
No Jedi action though, in case nobody said that, and I don't think that's a spoiler. To be fair, there's no Jedi fights.
Yeah.
There's no real Jedi at all.
Yeah.
But there is heavy mention of the Force.
There is.
Almost comically.
Because I mean, the Jedi are pretty much banished, right? So.
Banished or murdered. Yeah.
So there's I mean, we know that in episode 4, that people think there's no longer any Jedi, so that's why they're not in there. It's purely just all Rebel Alliance in this one.
Which is good, it's good to have a film about the Alliance because it's not only the Jedis who was in there cracking heads.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you had Jedi in this one, game over in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But really, right? If the Jedi were that powerful, how come they got banished so easily and murdered?
Right.
Like, literally, Anakin walked into the Praxium and he just killed all the Padawans and he killed whatever masters was around, right?
I think it was just all kids. So that was just it was just a slaughter. Like, that was just like...
I wish they played that scene out. Instead of just a videotape recording. Anyway.
But the story, it's Felicity Jones in this one.
She's cute as a button.
I mean, I guess you're kind of invested in it. It doesn't kind of like she tries to.
I cared more about her than I did Rey from episode whatever the fuck 9.
Oh, okay.
8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, because then you know what she has to do, what she's gonna be doing, and it's nothing's mysterious about this girl. Jin is her name, right?
Jin. Oh.
Yeah. Whereas Rey is just who is this person really?
Only at the end when she can go toe to toe with the hipster.
Right. Well, I mean, they're just standing there. It's like, who are you? There's no words are exchanged, so that's up in the air.
I like how the black guy is still a sidekick. Come on, Hollywood.
But other than that, the movie. I mean, if you're not you don't have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy
it. Yeah, you really don't.
I mean, you can actually watch this, and then A New Hope. I mean, it's just another movie you can throw in the mix into circulation.
Yeah, so girls, fear not. You can watch this with your boyfriend without getting heavily invested in nerd shit. There's very few canon or things you need to know. Actually, you don't need to know anything to invest in this movie and have it pay off. It just only is richer if you do, but...
Yeah, and they throw in little shout-outs here and there with, little cameos or previous characters from other episodes.
Yeah, so your boyfriend will probably start hitting you in the last scene like, oh my god, that's from the original!
But yeah, this movie, I mean, what else is there to say?
There really isn't. To not do it without spoilers, or I mean, I guess we could give random trivia, but anyone who listens to us is not the first wave of fanatics. This has already been covered by a bunch of other podcasts. So
Oh yeah, and
if you're listening to us, then you just like our style, which means you don't really care too
we
much.
we didn't go on
about
opening
it.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definite. Go watch CC.
Yep. Definitely.
I feel the need to spoil some shit right now.
Just don't. Probably hundreds of other fans gonna do just that right now.
Yeah, but I guess it was pretty good when episode 7 came out. I don't think anyone really spoiled it until much later, or maybe I just didn't notice.
There wasn't much to spoil except for Han's death.
Yeah, what a time to be alive right now. I think we could expect a new Star Wars movie every year until the end of time.
That might be a possibility. Disney's gonna milk this cow till the Sarlacc is through digesting Boba Fett.
God damn. I hope he's
1,000 years.
alive and well right now.
He's tweeting his situation.
So what are y'all recommending for this last episode of the year? Better be a banger.
Well, I have a movie whose story has been told a few times over.
I also have a recommend that stars the Jedi Master himself, Mark Hamill.
Or video games, The Joker.
Ooh, both sound dumb. Let's get it done. Kicking and streaming.
Alright, for this kicking and streaming, I have a new show recently released, Mark Hamill's Pop Culture Quest. Right now it's available on Comic Con HQ, which you can add on through Amazon.
For about how much?
Comic Con HQ is about $5 a month, $4.99 a month. So not bad. Not bad.
What else do they have on the channel?
A couple other originals. It's Comic Con related, so
Nice.
I haven't gotten into any of it.
But do they have features, or it's all featurettes and?
No, they have movies there too. So I think American Psycho might be on there too.
Oh.
Christian Bale, yes.
In his best role before Batman.
You know Mark Hamill. Everyone knows Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker, the voice of the Joker.
The best Joker voice ever.
And I also actually remember watching him in this one movie. It was on Showtime. Thank you, Showtime, by the way. It was called Body Bags.
I remember Body Bags.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a regular series, but I guess it was just a movie.
But also, Mark Hamill was in the Guyver, the live-action Guyver.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Which suck balls. The Guyver is actually a really great anime.
It is. I enjoyed the movies. Come on.
I just enjoyed it because when I saw it was on like Cinemax, and I didn't know what the fuck it was until years later. And I was like, hey, it's Luke Skywalker!
Shout out to the Blockbuster in Salt Lake, the best Blockbuster on the island. Yes. So, Body Bags, yeah, it was a movie by John Carpenter, Tobe Hooper, and Larry Sulkys. They directed the 3 stories in that
What the fuck
movie.
did Larry Sulkys do? Because the other 2 are like
Yeah,
legend.
I don't know.
They just brought along somebody's cousin. Say, what's up, Tobe? Yeah, that's my cousin Larry.
It says uncredited though for
that's
Sulkys.
why.
So,
Yeah, it's like, psh, little bish.
but Body Bags. It was kind of like a Tales from the Crypt format.
Anthology.
Yeah, so there was a host and everything. And then at the end of the movie, he's in a body bag. And Hamill was in this one where he lost an eye and got a replacement one, but it was like a real eye, not a fake eye. And it played out like the film The Eye. So he was seeing like weird stuff.
You know, all these movies bite the one movie with Jeff Fahey. Or
Yeah.
Jeff Fahey, right? His body parts.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, he was a baseball player, I think. And then on his way home, he got a car crash.
Lost an eye.
Yeah, and they actually show like what happens to his eye. Like it totally like glass was like in it.
And
and
stabs it and shit?
Yeah. So
Nice.
yeah, and then you got a replacement one. And I think at the end he ends up killing himself. Like he stabs himself in the eye because he couldn't take the horror that he was
That he's
seeing.
witnessing too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and Mark Hamill will be a collector too. So
I did not know that about him.
yeah.
Geek.
Right. So with only just several episodes into this series, and I'm loving it from day one.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Right. It's Mark Hamill going around the country, maybe even around the world if it took him there.
You know he got the wallet to do that.
He's meeting up with different collectors and talking about their own personal collections of pop culture memorabilia. And these collections are not just a bookshelf or two of just stuff.
Like legit.
Yeah, these are like collections that take up an entire garage, even half the house, with just different rooms full of all this stuff.
Let me ask you: are
Yeah.
these people married?
Yes, I think
That's pretty dope.
one of them in one episode the guy's married, and I think when they first bought their house, the wife said, "Okay, let's park our car in this garage, take a picture, because that's the last time this car is gonna be in this garage."
She knew him already.
Yeah, they're gonna
Oh,
take
that's
it up.
sweet.
Yeah, right. And so it's nicely
They know
displayed.
me.
You know, all these
Yeah,
things that they
yeah.
have.
Not like
It's not like-
rat running around.
Yeah, and
Fucking newspaper stacks.
yes, because these guys ain't hoarders; they're collectors. So it's all-
Spider-Man #1 bent in half.
Yeah. It's like in the bottom of this box. No, that's not a collector.
What's this gooey substance?
Yeah.
Don't touch my stuffs.
And so these collections are, you know, it's not finished. They're still adding to it to this day, and it's been years since they started the collection. So
Oh, I was gonna make a joke on Marvel's The Collector, but you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy, so you wouldn't get it.
no, I wouldn't. Yeah, so they maintain these collections, so it's nice. And Hamil likes to bring
Well,
up.
if you have a wife, probably.
Yeah, they weren't in the episode though. like Mark
Well,
Hamill's
if
coming
if
over.
you have a bunch of shit that's nerd and it's presentable, you guarantee have a woman that is orchestrating this.
All right, let me put my China here. I have stuff too.
Random. Oh, China
China.
with a lot of money. My comics is worth.
Yeah, Mark Hamill likes to bring up the origins of their love for these things. So a lot of it began during
Traces,
childhood.
yeah.
And you know, they spent their entire lives building these collections. And just the look of these collections, it looks like a lot of money went into these things.
I
Like
know it does.
yeah. But you know, I'm sure a lot of them like finding treasures in like garage sales and stuff.
Digging, they call it
Yeah.
in at least DJs digging for records.
Crate digging.
Yeah.
And so, but also a lot of love went into these collections, a lot of work, because maintaining these collections don't look easy. So, and also Mark Hamill is also joined by co-host Pop, you know, a bunny puppet, voiced by Dan Milano, and he's into pop culture too.
For bunnies.
Usually just hanging out though with what I'm guessing is Hamill's own personal Batcave. You know, I'm curious to see where they'll take this show. It's a wonderful format if you like checking out
There
collections.
are no shortage of nerds who collect shit.
All things pop culture. The episodes are short too. About some are like 12 minutes and it goes on to maybe like 16 minutes. Not bad though. But these collections are cool and well picked. Mark Hamill's pop culture quest. You'll watch CC. What do you have on your kicking and streaming?
I got this little movie called The Jungle Book.
Ooh, Jason Scott Lee.
Oh! Of course you would bring that up. I know he's from Hawaii, but just because somebody's from Hawaii, you don't gotta love everything they do.
But that one was a good one though.
No, that I actually reference it. If you'll just give me a sec, it is toiletry. No, that's the smelly good stuff. Just toilet. This one is directed by Jon Favreau. This is the 2016 version. It's written by Justin Marks and it's based on the books by Rudyard Kipling. Starring Neil Sethi, Bill Murray, Ben Kingsley, Idris Elba, Lupita Nyong'o, Scarlett Johansson, Giancarlo Esposito, and Christopher Walken.
Oh, all stars.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Does your mother like to sew? Boom! Get her to sew that! In the Siani jungle, a human boy is raised by wolves until a threat is made by Shere Khan, a fearsome tiger and king of this particular jungle, forcing his mother, Raksha, and his wolf pack to exile him for his own good. Aided by his badass panther mentor, Bagheera, he sets off to return to the human world, but before they can make headway, they are ambushed by Shere Khan in a field of tall grass. Bagheera protects him long enough for Mowgli to scramble away and escape among a herd of buffalo or some shit that stampede along a muddy gulch. But now,
What does it say? It's America?
separated from his pack and his mentor, and the only home he has ever known, Mowgli must negotiate the terrifying jungle terrain alone. So, I fucking love this movie. I was gonna kick stream another film till I saw Netflix added this. Jon Favreau, you are awesome. Who's the wild man now? These guys are going to win an Oscar for visual effects, okay? None of the animals, effects, or locations are practical. It's all computer wizardry. And
Wow.
it's fucking seamless. So I grew up with the Jungle Book cartoon and then that hideous piece of filth from the 90s with Jason Scott Lee. So I already knew the story inside out, but they still managed to blow my mind. I also knew it was going to be kind of saccharine, which I generally hate, but any story about an orphan, especially one that's adopted by animals, is going to pluck at the heartstrings. So I braced, but it didn't help. I almost cried, like a little bitch-ass bitch. Also, I can't stand animal deaths, especially dogs, but basically any animal they make into a stuffed animal. I despise depictions of demise. Okay, even bad ones. So, spoiler alert, there are animal deaths in this.
Wow.
Nothing too graphic, but they're there. And but instead of turning me off, it further invested me in the story. So kudos. There's not too much singing, which is good, but there are a few familiar jams that play very well, which is surprising because on paper it looked corny as shit. The exception being the Beauty and the Beast live action. I hope they do bust out songs from the original cartoon. But back to Jungle Book. I wouldn't be surprised if this also garners a Best Picture nod at the Oscars.
Wow, that could, huh?
It's available on Netflix, so check it out. You'll love it. If you don't, you're obviously possessed by a demon, in which case, the power of Christ compels you! You'll watch CC.
Really? That's all you got? Not interested.
Take a chance. You might like it.
Take a chance, 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 take a chance.
Please, I'll take my chances somewhere else.
Well, if you
You
change your mind, I'm the first in line. Baby, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me, let me know. Gonna be around. If you got no place to go if you're feeling down.
ABBA and Star Wars? Are you losers trying to die alone?
That's the plan. So how'd you feel about 2016, P?
Lots of ups for sure. Jeremy is so stellar.
Jeremy is so stellar.
Aw, Bone Dragon's quite the catch, huh?
Bum 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 bum. Wasteland soldier.
Bum, 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 bum.
He is a catch. And you're a stone's throw from Homo, so shut up.
How about you, dude? Thoughts on 2016?
It had its ups and downs for sure. But I think just, you hear about it more, about the downs for sure, due to social media. I mean, just 5 years ago, I'd have to be watching the news or reading it in the paper about things, In Las Vegas, there was this segment on the news dedicated to rant. And I love that segment because people would just call in and,
Bitch about random shit?
yeah, just all their complaints. And you hear it on TV, so it's funny.
Why are eggs so eggy?
Yeah. But I wonder if they still do that now. I mean, you don't have to wait till 10 o'clock for that. You can just read the comments, How about you?
Fuck. Ups and downs, yeah. Kind of a boring year. Didn't play much tennis. There was a singles tourney on the 17th, but I'm too fucking fat already. And lazy.
Oh,
But upside, we started this podcast.
yes.
Met some cool peeps. My mom, guys, and brother are alive and well. And the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, are kicking fucking ass. So I classify this as an up year.
So are we gonna hear a rant or praise on secular?
Does this have to wait?
Fucker. Secular insanity.
Okay, for this ep's Secular Insanity, I have The Thing from 2011. Yuck it up. It is directed by Mathis van Helningen. Written by Eric Hesserer. Based on the short story Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr. So it stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who one has the humongous crush on, Joel Edgerton, Ulrich Thompson, Adewale Akinyoye Agbigaje, and Eric Christian Olsen. So, in 1982, Norwegian scientists in Antarctica stumble upon the discovery of a lifetime, a gigantic spaceship buried beneath the ice. They bring in American paleontologist Kate Lloyd, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, to safely remove the alien pilot from the massive block of ice they cut from the crash site. She succeeds, and while she and the Norwegians celebrate their seemingly good fortune, the alien defrosts, reanimates, and escapes. The scientists pursue, and one by one, the Thing mimics and kills them. If you love the John Carpenter 1982 remake, I think you'll love this film. There's the same elements of isolation, paranoia, and cabin fever at play. It is basically a rehash of what happened at the American camp, but on top of that, it fills in what happened at the Norwegian base, axe in the wall and all. They come up with the blood specimen idea as well, but are unable to test it because the blood gets destroyed by one of them before they're able to see what's what and who's who. So they go with the next best thing. Realizing that this creature cannot imitate non-organic material, they check for dental fillings and cavities. While not a foolproof method by any means, it does provide some clarity on who is definitely not a thing. The CGI is great for the most part, although heavy-handed, and not as scary or cool as the practical effects seen in the John Carpenter one, but it's still awesome. The coolest part of the film is that it was not marketed as a prequel. I don't know if that helped box office draws because I myself was thoroughly disgusted by the thought that a studio would remake John Carpenter's The Thing, but after watching it, I love the fact that it was a secret prequel. I've heard this described as a studio-backed fan film that was unnecessary. And while totally true, this film is still fucking awesome. This is not a film that needed to be made, but if we started judging movies by that standard, there would be nothing to watch, nothing to binge on, nothing and no thing. Does this movie ruin anything of the John Carpenter masterpiece? No. Does it spoil anything for the potential viewer that hasn't seen the John Carpenter film? Absolutely not. If anything, that viewer can watch these movies chronologically and still be blown away by the awesomeness. So, if you haven't seen the 2011 The Thing, watch it. Don't listen to the hate on the internet or from snobby-ass would-be cinephiles or from your nerdy film geek know-it-all homie. This film is good gettings, so get what a getting's good. Yo watch CC.
It sounds okay. I heard fans of the original didn't like it.
Ew.
What's not to like? It's an awesome prequel that pretty much stayed true to the original. And by true, I mean pretty much filled every plot hole. Even the little details were fulfilled.
The hate this movie gets. Jesus, nerds! It's a prequel to a remake, so don't get all fucking high and mighty, you little bitty bitches. Granted, Carpenter's 1982 The Thing is one of the best films ever, but it's still just a movie. So relax and drink your cyanide Kool-Aid, you culty bunch of cunts.
Hey, what you got, Ono?
I have a nice sci-fi short, Prospect.
Never heard of it.
Well, now you will, and it's excellent.
Burn on the cat.
Whatever you say. The shortest straw.
Alright, for this shortest straw, I have the sci-fi short Prospect, released in 2014. It was produced and made through the production company Shep Films, based in Seattle. The short was directed by Zeke Earl and Christopher Caldwell, and written by Caldwell. It stars Tony Dupe, Callie Harlow, Joshua Miles, and Thomas Castle. So Prospect is a coming-of-age story. It's set on an alien planet. It almost kind of looks like the forest moon of Endor. A forest setting, lots of trees, not redwoods, and insects. Lots of emphasis on insects. You see, the story is focused on a father and daughter team. They're like miners or prospectors. They're collecting what looks like goo, and I'm not sure if they're collecting the insects or some substance that is produced by the insects. Either way, they're collecting a whole lot of this stuff, which will hopefully bring in the riches, like they'll be banking. This material is profitable, so much that there of course are other people searching for some product. That's where the bandit comes in. He's looking for some product too. So an exit strategy is in place for the daughter if anything should happen to her father, and they go over this in the film. And you know what? Shit does hit the fan. So watch the film to see if she made the right decision. The cool thing about this short, it's very practical. Very little special effects are used. So the costumes are very heavy on design and props. And even though it's supposed to be on an alien planet, the surroundings are all natural. It's understandable that it took more than a year to complete shooting this 14-minute short. The settings had to be just right, and it shows. It's a very organic presentation. Check out the short, it's on YouTube or on the production company's website, shepfilms.com. Yo watch CC.
Whoa, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, they were just going for like a practical kind of presentation and organic feel.
Do they have sarcasm where you're from? Gosh, what you guys plan for next year's podcast?
lots of good shit. We'll be /tagging a bunch of goodies like Logan, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the live-action Beauty and the Beast.
Yep. Also, the newest Underworld, Resident Evil, the final chapter. We'll more than likely check out Ghost in the Shell as well.
Yeah, fake Matrix. We'll also dive into some audio theater.
Yeah, that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that'll be a new stretch for us, but we'll nail it.
Nice. What's up next?
This segment is pretty much dedicated to Prometheus and Alien.
Geo. We'll touch base on the subject of prequels and talk about how this new segment in the Alien franchise will play out.
Oh, goody. Can't wait to hear it.
Sarcasm.
Schrody's ladder.
All right, for this Schrody's ladder, we'll be talking briefly on prequels and what we like and don't like about them. I'll then head into Prometheus and Alien and all that good stuff.
I don't know what my stance is on prequels as a whole. I guess I don't object to the idea, but I think it does put you in a box that's kind of hard to succeed in, because when you know where something eventually goes, I mean, there's really not too much to work with, so they have to really create something interesting that'll keep you involved.
Right. It's usually not the final product, but the journey.
The journey that needs to be interesting.
Yeah.
So even though I feel like they created the whole prequel craze, Star Wars needs to learn from that.
Right.
Because the destination we already knew, and the journey to it was super fucking boring.
So, just to clarify, a prequel takes place before the events of an existing storyline. Prime examples include...
Like, I feel if you don't know what a prequel means, why are you listening to a movie podcast? But yeah, examples: The Thing 2011, Star Wars Episodes 1, 2, and 3, and Prometheus.
Yeah, good examples. Those are more or less, fill in backstory, and they do a pretty good job at it without breaking much continuity in the storyline.
Especially The Thing, haters. That movie explained all the little details uncovered in the first film.
And see, this is where the marketing for a prequel could be tricky. Like for The Thing, you can't market it as a remake because it's not. But if you take that chance with telling everyone it is a prequel, that may ruin the surprise, and some viewers who've never seen the original may get pissed.
Yeah, but I don't know. If it's good, it's going to be good. But actually, haters gonna hate. Fucking people hating on Rogue One for like, why?
Why?
Were you pissed?
Well, I thought of it as a remake, so I took it as is,
I was more pissed that it was a remake, supposedly, right?
Right.
I'm like, why?
But, it wasn't until I saw the first one and then, the prequel, and then bam, blew my mind. I guess it didn't help that it had the same title, but I guess it worked because, they're dealing with the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that they kept the title, but I can see why the confusion that it was a remake or, the marketing of that thing. I actually never paid too much attention to the trailers because it just looked like a remake. So I was like, because actually it almost kind of mirrors exactly what happened in Kurt Russell's Thing.
It is, and I think it's supposed to, because then, they end up taking the same ideas, and
right.
I think the Thing was like burning them.
Yeah.
And then I think doing the test though was like a coincidence. But how else you're gonna,
Well, they're all scientists, so somebody was gonna come up with test the blood.
Yeah, right.
That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah. So marketing Final Destination 5 though, that was tricky.
I'm glad you brought that up. Spoiler alert for anyone who just got sick of Final Destination by the time 5 rolled around. It is 5. A prequel. It is a prequel. And you can see the hints peppered throughout the story. There's a banner in the gymnasium when the gym girl is doing her fucking gym kata and like cracks herself in half or some shit.
God.
The state banners tell you what year it is.
Right. Yeah, I guess you have to catch along with that.
Yeah, it's small. It's small signs.
And then the main character mentioning he has an opportunity in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch that until the end where it overlaps. Yeah. See, that's good that they overlap the films.
Yeah,
So,
or else,
I mean,
and I think that's what they're going for.
yeah.
That kind of, oh shit, it's a prequel.
And then they show him burning alive.
Yeah.
in the plane,
And
like
the girl gets
last-
sucked out of the plane and into
Oh.
the engine or something.
Yeah, it was
Best.
That was a way. That's what a way to go out and
Yeah.
end the franchise with that. But then it's a big circle, so it's like you can just keep watching it if you wanted to.
I don't know though. I'm starting to just hate on sequels if we think of it as sequels, and not as just a continuation of a larger story. When I hear sequel, I think of all the horror movie bullshits where it's basically the same thing, just same killer, different people to kill.
Right, it kind of gives a negative impact on the sequel and then the third and fourth one. But for Final Destination, the ending was perfect, and it's a direct prequel, whereas Episode 3 takes place years before Episode 4. So now we got that Rogue One. I don't want to say necessarily fill in that gap.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is definitely a significant time gap
Well, 17 years.
from Episode 3 to.
To
okay,
4.
right. Yeah,
Well,
I guess.
because Luke and Leia are supposed to be 17.
Yeah, so I guess you're not missing anything. You just see them growing up. You
It's
get
like
a
that
pretty
whole
much.
thing, when Jesus goes missing from 17 to 30 or whatever.
All we get was Smallville. You can have. Yeah, just we can get some power converters.
I was not a fan of Smallville.
I didn't see an episode. I know of it.
Yeah. In fact, it was years before I realized it was a Superman story. So anyway, let's get into the upcoming prequel, Alien Covenant.
Yes. So we'll leave out any comics, graphic novels, and spin-offs like AVP and Requiem from the timeline and keep it within the universe of the first 4 Alien films and Prometheus.
Yeah, let's just not count the 4th Alien film.
All right. That's way down the line.
So, yeah, before we start giving our thoughts on Covenant, we'll point out some details that are different from Alien and Prometheus. One example, Weyland-Yutani is portrayed in Alien as the employer of the crew of the Nostromo, and you see it printed on all of the characters.
Yes, it's a Weyland-Yutani Corporation. And you see it again in Aliens and Alien 3, building better worlds. They say shake and bake colonies. So in Prometheus, we're introduced to Weyland Industries. And Peter Weyland, the founder himself. So no big merger has happened yet.
Yeah, we also want to point out that the planets as well. So we have LV-426 and LV-223. So in Alien, LV-426 was an unsurveyed planet at the time, but it was already cataloged and marked. Same with LV-223.
Yeah, so these are 2 moons, and if you got to go into the special features in the Prometheus Blu-ray, they give some trivia. So basically, Peter Weyland knew about both signals coming from both planets, and so he didn't care about LV-223, I believe, more so LV-426. And I guess in order to send a mission there, he had to have good reason. Mm-hmm. And so you have Numi Rapis ordeal with her husband, or the whole 3 moons that they've seen at different parts in the world. And so that's LV-223. So when we get to the beginning, David 8, Michael Fassbender, he already knows about both signals. But only him and Peter only know it. No one else knows it. So he has this information. And so I guess he sends back, data. Peter Weyland's already on the ship. But he doesn't come out until later.
The end, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess he knew about the engineers already. That's why they woke them up. But
I thought that was Lance Henriksen. That's Weyland.
that's an AVP. But we won't count that.
Really?
Yeah. Or Lance Henriksen.
Isn't he also
he's Bishop though.
Yeah, Bishop, yeah. And then Alien 3, he shows up as Weyland, right?
No, not Weyland, but the real Bishop. The guy who made. So these are 2.
Okay.
So you have Peter Weyland invented David, and he went through different 8 different kinds. Yeah. So the most current one is the one we see in Prometheus. And then Ash in Alien is a different model but it's still part of the. It's part of Wayland Yutani already,
Yeah.
and I believe in Aliens Bishop.
Isn't that Bilbo Baggins?
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, we got these 3 different androids and different types of androids.
And then Winona Ryder.
Right. Yeah. But
Who almost spoiled it for when he went with his sister's friends. Nice one, dude. But I thought she was a robot.
right. Okay, so I believe in Prometheus. So you know when they leave at the end, he's like, I know where they're from. And they go and try to search for the home world. But I don't think that's where they're going. I think they're going to LV-426.
Why wouldn't they just want to return home?
Because Numi Rapids doesn't want to go back home already. Like, she wants to go search the beginnings.
I guess.
Yeah, like, they're makers. But they're really not... I guess you can say they're makers, but, like, we're them and they're us in some kind of other form.
Well, they're basically God. Right? They created us.
I don't think I wouldn't consider them creating us, but it's more like we evolved in a different way.
Yes, from their original creation.
Yeah, so it's like... or I guess...
I mean, if we're going to credit God the Father, or evolution.
Yeah.
Whoever planted the seed, even if by accident, whatever we grow to, is partially us, but, we stem from the initial.
Ah, okay. Well, I think in Prometheus, so that's where they're going to head to. And they said...
426. So,
yeah.
But they are not the ship that we find crashed in Alien, right? Or not crashed, but docked.
I don't want to say that's... Yeah, I think that one crashed.
Oh, it was a crash.
Yeah, because in Alien, right, we see that hole in the chest. We have to assume that it was a chest burster. And it...
Face fucker.
Yeah. Maybe...
face hugger.
Maybe that's why they crashed. And it's in the same position, too. Like... I don't think that's how you land it, because it was on its it was like a horseshoe, that kind of side, whereas it should be like on the ground.
Flat, yeah.
Yeah, flat on the ground.
Oh, okay.
But there's already photos that were not leaked, but it's on the official Prometheus site. But it was renamed to Alien, so like we see soldiers, we see alien like xenomorph tunnels, and from the poster. We have the actual.
We have the face, yeah, of the xenomorph, kind of half shrouded in darkness. So that's all I'm saying. And you motherfuckers better not just bust them out in the last 20 minutes, you bastards. I want to see aliens.
Yeah. But they said it's supposed to be a horror. It's gonna be straight up horror.
So less sci-fi, more horror.
I think so. Like more like Alien, but I guess for a modern day audience. So it's gotta be pretty
if
bloody.
they do us the fucking shark fin thing for fucking 2 hours and then finally we see it, our teeth. Yeah. Like, come on.
But I feel like, so it's going to be another movie after that. And I really want it to end where we just see like the Nostromo. And that's like Ripley and crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like we wouldn't have to see the actual crew. We just got to see the Nostromo in space.
The ship.
And then we'll see. Oh, okay. But yeah. That's what I'm hoping for.
Would that happen? Because that beacon that they responded to was going on for like years, right?
Yeah.
So
because
however the third part ends, it's like 50, 60 years until the Nostromo enters or receives that beacon, right?
Right. Because if you include like, it's more than almost 100 years after the events, supposedly. Like, I think it happens. So, like, in Prometheus, it's like 2092. Whereas the events in Alien, supposedly 2121 or something like that. So, not actually 100 years. It's more like 30 years. Because I think they say Ripley was born in 2092. Yeah, so.
Well, they're optimistic what's going to happen with technology in the next 80 years, 60 years.
But, so, because then, yeah, if you point out the signal, they think it's a SOS.
Right.
It turns out to be a warning. So I'm wondering if that's like Nui Rapis putting like, oh, it's a warning. You know,
Yeah,
don't
stay
come in
away.
here. And it's different egg shapes because they had it almost looked like vases or canisters, right? In Prometheus.
Yeah,
So an alien on that ship, it's eggs. So we may encounter a queen in either Covenant or the third one.
I'm still thinking the queen comes from an engineer getting that gunk in him, and then whatever bursts out of his chest is a queen that starts laying eggs.
So the company had already known about both signals, LV426, since even before the Prometheus mission. So they already knew. But I don't know if it's like politics or just business decisions. Like you can't just go anywhere you want. I mean, there's money invested, right? So it's like, okay. But I mean, Peter Wayne is like the richest guy in the world. Like I think he
made
cured cancer.
$8 quadrillion.
Quadrillion dollars. But yeah, so I think Prometheus, we're gonna see a queen. In this next one, we're gonna see some, hopefully maybe, I don't know if it's colonial marines. I don't think that has been established yet. But we'll definitely see some action, I hope, from the photos that they showed.
I don't know, if they're already exploring, to me, they must have organized the military. There's got to be a star fleet.
Yeah, I'm sure all the data from the Prometheus went back to Earth. I mean, because they know everything, right? That's what I'm hoping it's going.
Who's cast in Covenant that we know so far?
Danny McBride.
Really?
Yeah, he's in there.
Nice choice.
Yeah, and he said it's nothing funny about it.
That's odd. He's just a funny looking motherfucker.
Yeah. And is it Catherine Waterston?
Is she from Vikings? The show Vikings?
I'm not sure. That's Sam Waterston's daughter.
Oh.
She was in actually the Beast movie, the Harry Potter, Beast Within, I think. Billy Crudup.
Oh, Billy Crudup, he's dope.
Yeah, he's in there too.
Almost famous.
Yep. And I guess Guy Pearce is gonna be in there again. Reprise as
Probably just as a cameo on like a screen. If you're watching this, I've passed away.
Yeah, but that's my hopes and dreams for this franchise. Take it away, Ridley Scott. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this Schrody's Ladder.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed it, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Wasn't there a cat in this series?
Yeah, Jonesy. The cat must have been waiting a long ass time before giving up on Ripley's return.
She was last seen in Aliens after Ripley decided to go back to the planet.
Any more cats?
Maybe one will pop up in Alien Covenant, which will hit theaters May 19, 2017.
Be ready to scream.
Stop it. Any New Year's parties coming up this weekend?
Yeah, my uncle's house and my homie Dason's. I will be so wasted. So be on the lookout for stupid tweets.
Oh, nice. Drunk tweeting is the best. Well, I'll probably do a barbecue, eat till I can't eat no more, then eat some more.
Gia.
Catch the
Roman
fireworks.
style.
Yes, of course. Catch the fireworks outside and on the boob tube. Pop in a movie, just another Tuesday, minus the fireworks.
I think it's a Sunday, bro.
Oh, Sunday's Tuesday, same thing. Same
For a
routine.
drunk.
Yes.
That's sad. Not as sad as this list, though. What's this on?
Not as sad as your face. Top 6 sequels equal or superior to the original.
Ever.
Ever.
Ever. Or what we're feeling at the moment.
I'm glad. Let's get this done with so I can start planning this weekend's festivities in the labyrinth. The Sen of Six.
The box. We came. Now you must come with us. Taste our pleasures.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Sen of Six, the segment where we list our top 6 of whatever theme we choose. Usually it's a favorite kind of list, starting at 6, working our way to 1, which would be our most favorite.
This Sen of 6, we're listing 6 sequels superior or at least as good as the original. There's quite a few out there. I know Ono found this pretty straightforward, but it was a lot harder for me to narrow. We're pretty confident with our choices though. We'll definitely have to do genre-specific sequels lists in the future, but for now, faves of any type of sequels.
Yeah, and these should be obvious ones, or not, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, but before we get started, if you hear this, our picks are different.
And if you hear this, our picks are the same.
Top sequels, go!
All right, at number 6, I have Resident Evil 2 Apocalypse. I was really excited to see this one, considering the ending of the first Resident Evil, which left me hanging Raccoon City. Yes. RE2, though, was the film that introduced characters from the game, which included Jill Valentine, played by Sienna Guillory. We also see STARS members and Carlos Oliveira, played by Oded Fehr.
I like Oded Fehr.
Yeah, he's the man in this one.
He's a gigolo.
Even Nemesis showed up at the end. So there's a bit of action in this one. We have bigger crowds, more deaths, more action, of course, more of everything. To say this may have been a different movie, though, it's kind of hard to say considering Paul W.S. Anderson bowed out to do Alien vs. Predator.
A wise choice.
Yeah, and then he came back to do the rest of the series. It's still one of my favorites of this series because it was the first one to introduce the game characters and did so well with it. And Killswitch Engage closes the film with The End of Heartache, stellar track and soundtrack.
Hell yeah, Killswitch Engage. I love the End of Heartache album. And Alive or Just Breathing. Actually, most of the riffs are dope, but the vocals are a little operatic for me. I feel like the lyrics are kind of sensy, like emo disguised as metal, like Bullet for My Valentine. But I guess if you want to get sensitive and R&B makes you feel silly, why not track it to crunchy badass riffs? My number 6, Aliens.
Oof.
I know it should be higher, and if this were a sci-fi, horror, or action-specific list, it guaranteed would be. But it's not, so it's not. I remember wanting to watch this so badly, but my mom and guys weren't really feeling it, so they asked a nice couple if I could go in and watch it with them, and the couple was like, sure. I remember them as being old, but I'm not sure they actually were. You know how to 6-year-old mind, all adults are like old as fuck. But what Cameron manages to do with this film, it's almost a shame to call it a sequel. It changes genres, furthers the emotional depth of the protagonist. It includes a bunch of three-dimensional supporting casts, ups the ante on the violence and gore. I like that they just called it Aliens. I kind of hate when they do a colon subtitle like Alien Resurrection. I like when they just name it a different title wholly, like The Color of Money, as opposed to being The Hustler 2, or worse, The Hustler 2, The Color of Money. Ugh.
Oh, okay. Well, at number 5, I have The Road Warrior, the second film in the Mad Max series. This was also the film that I saw first of the franchise. I'm not sure whether or not Mad Max was released in the U.S. or maybe it had a small limited release. Maybe because that's why this film is titled Road Warrior instead of Mad Max 2, just in case no one in the U.S. didn't know who Mad Max was.
Mad Max 1?
Right, or didn't get a chance to see the first film. This film is basically Fury Road, but like on a one-way street. You know, they go one direction. They don't do a U. and the timeline, I'm guessing, had to be during the gas wars, considering that's what everyone was fighting over. But this movie is all about the final fight, or rather just trying to keep that gas tank on the road. I like to quote Chris Rock, though. Dave, you know, he's talking to David Letterman. Have you ever been to Alaska? It's a road warrior with snow. You know, maybe in Anchorage. Still funny, though.
For my number 5, Terminator 2. Back-to-back Cameron. Again, I love the direction and the depth he gave to this story. The trailer kind of ruined the twist surprise for me, being that Arnold was a good guy now, but it was still cool as fuck. And the visual effects of the T-1000. I love the director's cut too, where it depicts the T-1000 struggling with complications and defects of its programming. Unnecessary, but still awesome. Sarah Connor was badass too. I guess technically she's the final girl in the first one, but by number 2, she's just full-blown awesome.
Oh, yeah, she is. All right, at number 4, I have The Matrix, Reloaded.
I love this one, even though the title's stupid.
I didn't fully understand the first Matrix movie at all, only until maybe like several months before the release of
The
Reloaded.
architect doesn't help with that at all.
Yeah. You know, he makes
what
it
you
up.
have already done,
Yeah.
but you know what you do, you choose now, you already did. What, fuck you.
You know, he actually he doesn't make an appearance, you don't see him, but he's in the first one. The architect. Do you remember that scene?
I do not.
You know the scene where they place that bug and Neo through his belly button?
Yeah.
So the scene right before that, there's a room with all these screens. You think it's like a guy viewing the interrogation
That's
room.
the architect's room?
That's with the architect, yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So, yeah, make that clear. Like, so he's there already. So he's already watching. But yeah, my mind was blown after seeing, the first Matrix after I understood it. I had a better understanding of the context of the film after I had to take a class on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
nerd.
it was like a 1 credit elective. I forget the name of the class, but we watched films like The Arrival with Charlie Sheen.
Nice. The real Arrival.
Total Recall, Dark City, 13th Floor, and The Matrix. Movies like that.
That was like a college class you took?
It was a 1 credit course taught by a student. I guess it was trying
That's
to
dope.
get credits. Yeah, and like the next year it was like Star Trek, and then after that was like fantasy films. But in Reloaded, man, what a ride! In this one we see a little bit more blood, a couple brutal deaths, and an orgasm cake. Orgasm cake. Yeah.
But close quarter combat, son.
Yes. Pretty gnarly. The freeway sequence and the introduction of the Merovingian and that whole ordeal with finding the keymaker.
Merovingian is dope.
Yeah, both are my favorite parts of the movie. And also when Neo takes the bullet out of Trinity.
I hated that.
The 100 Smith scene. And pretty much everything was awesome.
Is that the one with the birds in the park?
Yeah, they see that shot. Yeah.
I like the Chinese guy. He has to fight to like get to the Oracle.
Oh, okay. And then he's like, you could have just asked.
Yeah. Well, my number 4, Superman 2,
Oh.
the Christopher Reeves one. But Richard Donner was initially hired to simultaneously direct Superman the movie and Superman 2. But when the studio released the first one and it achieved super success, they, for whatever stupid reason, decided to fire him and hire Richard Lester to direct the second one. Some of Donner's footage was used, but Lester pretty much reshot the majority. If you'd like an idea of Richard Donner's superior vision for what Superman 2 could have been, there's a film you can pick up called Superman 2, The Richard Donner Cut. It is rough as fuck, but if you understand that going in, you'll be able to glimpse what he envisioned for the continuation of the Superman saga. But getting back to what actually was, I loved the Lester version growing up. And it's still pretty good. Superman struggles with his identity as Superman and Clark Kent, and he comes to the realization that the responsibilities of Superman and the desires of Clark Kent are mutually exclusive. So he chooses love. Bruce Lane. He jumps in a crystal chamber and zaps his powers away. They get some super sexy time at the Fortress of Solitude, blah, blah, blah. He's human now, lovey, lovey time, blah. This love story could not have come at a worse time. Earlier in the film, Superman takes a nuke from the Eiffel Tower and throws it into outer space. The explosion frees Krypton's 3 worst villains, who were floating around in the Phantom Zone, trapped in some kind of 2D prism. The villains, Mute Brute Non, Vexing Villainess Ursa, and Godlike General Zod, basically fuck up Earth, or Planet Houston as they initially mistake it, and hold it hostage to their tyrannical whims. Superman has to get his powers back so he can stand against 3 villains with his same superpowers. I love that we get to see Superman as a fragile human. He even gets his ass kicked by a trucker in a diner. And then even when he gets his powers back, he's still outmatched physically. So finally we get to see what's actually super about him, beyond just his powers from the yellow sun. I also love that we see how petty and human he is. After he gets his power back and saves the world from Zod guys, he goes back to the diner and beats the shit out of that trucker from earlier. This film, to me, makes Superman relatable in a way that no other film has done.
Oh, nice. All right. Coming in at number 3, Bad Boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna... Yeah.
When they come for you.
You
Yeah.
gotta learn the words, man. Unlike the first Bad Boys, which opens up with an unsuspecting carjack on both Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett.
I had a sergeant named Mark Lowry.
Bad Boys 2 opens up with an unsuspecting drug raid on a KKK meeting, which of course goes south due to faulty radio equipment. But this movie is so funny that chemistry between Lawrence and Smith is still there. It's still evident. We have familiar characters too, and new ones introduced. It's a massive movie with regards to explosions and car chase scenes. There's actually 3 of them in this one, and they're all
one
big
of the best
ones.
car chase scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, and like there's a boat too. So there's a boat. How did a boat get on the freeway?
And a naked big titty drug chick.
Oh yeah. Well, there's 3 in this one, and they're all big chase scenes. But if you have the second thoughts about this movie, just watch it for the date scene if you haven't seen this.
Yeah.
This is when when Megan, Marcus's daughter, is getting ready for a date. Reggie, her date, has the most unfortunate encounter with Marcus and Mike.
Mike Lowry.
And it pretty much is the funniest scene in the film, if not the best scene in the film.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
So at 3, I've got The Dark Knight, which may as well have been titled The Joker Show.
Oh, true.
Heath Ledger is amazing. There's a million theories online about his origins and backstory. Personally, I like to think the Joker and David from The Guest were in the same Delta Force detachment. Joker was the unit's top, and he probably recruited and mentored David, and they both got the big chicken dinner after going AWOL to put smiles on the faces of CJs. I like how the writers incorporated elements of the Killing Joke into the theme of The Dark Knight. I hate that they replaced Katie Holmes with Maggie Gyllenhaal, though I kind of laughed when she got blown up.
Oh,
Whatever, awesome movie. Definitely better than Batman Begins as far as story, and probably the best Batman movie to date. I'm looking forward to Ben Affleck's The Batman trilogy, though.
oh, okay. Should be good. At number 2, I have not just one of the more superior sequels of all time, but most definitely one of the best movies of all time. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Yeah, it has definitely most that revamped soundtrack. They actually use I think maybe an orchestra as opposed to synths.
Dude, I saw it with the dude at Waikiki 3 playing that shit on the organ.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. Yeah, it has the soundtrack is just as memorable as Arnold's line in this movie. The Terminator is the good guy. Sarah Connor is one of those survivalist militia types.
And he still drops it within good context. I'll be back.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. But we all know, she's telling the truth, even though she's in the.
I know.
Yeah.
And that smart ass psychiatrist guy is
Oh,
Sarah
God.
Connor. Well, I'll just inject you with this because I know better. Whatever's dumb shit.
Right, and aside from this theatrical version, there's also Terminator 2, More Than Meets the Eye. No relation to Transformers or anything. But yeah, in this new version, there's just chunks and chunks of footage that was not in Judgment Day. You have scenes like when they took out the chip of Arnold's head, right? Reese makes an appearance. It was a dream sequence, but
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. And we have John Connor teaching Arnold how to smile.
He'll live.
Which plays into that scene where he picks up the minigun and John says, that's definitely you. And as many times as I've seen this movie, I've never actually heard the Guns N' Roses song from start to finish. It's always in that when they're on the dirt bike only, right? But I've always caught the last part of the song, never in its entirety. Definitely one of the best sequels ever. I'm actually glad it continued regardless of some of the series' faults.
Nerd.
I'm a completist.
Also known as nerd. Is that GNR song You Could Be Mine?
I think, I don't know if that's what it's called.
Yeah, it goes,
Yeah.
You could be mine. No?
Oh, okay.
It's
No,
a
I'm
dope
not sure.
song, I think.
It's just November Rain, that's all I know.
Well,
And
I think it's from Use Your Illusions too.
Oh,
Okay, that's definitely Use Your Illusions 1 or
no,
actually
that's
that's
Appetite for Destruction.
Appetite for Destruction, yeah. From Captain Fantastic. Anyway, hey, if somebody knows James Cameron or Arnold, I think the next Terminator film should be called Terminator November Rain.
Like as in Rain and Blood.
Yeah. The villain can be a Terminator model called the T-New 52. They nickname it the November model, and it creates liquid metal constructs like Green Lantern. So whatever it can think of, it can manifest. I realize this is no longer sci-fi, but Terminator's been getting stupid since T2, so why not go full blown? Then they can spin it off into Terminator vs. Predator vs. Zombies vs. Creepy Possessed Kids vs. a Haunted House vs. Megalodon vs. Adam Sandler.
No way.
Anyway, I can't believe my number 2 didn't make your list, bro. The Empire Strikes Back. The downer ending, the I Am Your Father revelation, Yoda training, the Hoth battle, Lando Calrissian, Boba Fett, the list goes on and on. This is definitely my favorite of the film series.
Of course.
Also, what the fuck, Lucasfilms and Disney? Where the fuck are the Force powers from the Force Unleashed video game? Okay, Starkiller just force crushes TIE fighters and he Hadoukens them at targets. Then he fucking force pulls Imperial destroyers. He force pushes and mind tricks multiple stormtroopers.
Damn.
If you're gonna give me a bitch Sith like Kylo Ren, at least give him mad force mojo.
he got that wound and he's hitting his stomach, right? Just goddamn.
What a bitch.
All right.
Coffee house bitch ass bitch.
So before we get into our number ones, we have honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions: Mad Max Fury Road, best fucking car chase action set since Bad Boys 2. Evil Dead 2, some would argue not a true sequel, but those fags are probably scared of gluten, so what do I care? Love Evil Dead 2. Finally, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Nice.
If Tim Burton had just committed suicide prior to that piece of shit he did with Mark Wahlberg, I would say the Planet of the Apes franchise is probably the best franchise of all time. I love the monkey fight at the end of Dawn. And then when Caesar wins and Koba is dangling and regurgitates the number one rule, ape no kill ape. And Caesar's like, you no ape. And then drops his bitch ass. Almost teared up at that part. I found it profound. Caesar's journey through this film is one of complication and intricacy. He discovers that for beings capable of thought, no matter the race or whatever, there's no black and white. Everything is a shade of gray.
Oh, all right. All right, so I have Blade 2, directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Del Toro.
Yeah, the best thing about this movie,
Le Orfanato.
Nomak. I know.
Fuck yeah, Nomak is dope, dude. Jared Nomak.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, they open it right and you think, oh, I'm struggling. I'm fucking like on Junkie in Croatia or wherever the fuck, Prague.
And then you see him,
The vampires are like, yeah, no worry. We're going to take care of you. And then he just rips them.
Oh, my God. You know, I know Lycans dominate, but these Reapers, man, really intense.
Plus, they got the protective chest coating shit where you can't just stab them to the heart.
All right, yeah. Well, I guess it'd be hard to follow up this movie because, it was such a blast, but, a third film indeed was made, and unfortunately, it couldn't carry the same excitement that made the second film such a hit.
Yeah, it sucked balls. Well, anytime you entrust it with a writer.
Oh, and then he directs it?
Yeah.
Honorable mention number 2, I have Lethal Weapon 2. This one opened up, in the middle of a car chase.
Diplomatic immunity.
This film also featured the famous bomb. Right, yeah. The bomb under the toilet scene, which was parodied perfectly in Loaded Weapon 1. Oh, and we're also introduced to Leo Getz in this one. And he hangs out for the next 2 films.
Okay. But wait a minute, Riggs!
Honorable mention number 3. Freeway 2, Confessions of a Trick
I might
Baker.
gotta see this one. I just hated it because it looks stupid and I'm not a fan of Natasha Lyonne, but...
This one was darker than the first one.
The first one was pretty dark.
So,
Bokeem Woodbine, the dude from The Pretender.
Yeah. This sequel to Freeway, the one, Reese Witherspoon and Kiefer Sutherland. Freeway 2,
She's so
man.
redneck, fucking crazy.
She was. But they
Hard to believe that's the girl from Cheetah.
They go pretty dark and kind of perverse with the fairy tales in this one. I guess everything you'd expect to go on at an all-women's prison pretty much does happen. And
it ain't Orange is the New Black. No. I'm sure of that.
And in the first Freeway 2, all that stuff happens. But my first viewing of this film, though...
Bob!
I was kind of shocked throughout the film, but no doubt curious, actually, to see where the story would lead. Not a direct sequel by any means, just another tale in some woman's life gone awry. I recommend this movie, though, just for Natasha Lyonne alone. She is amazing in this one. She is the master of death. All right. So, number 1s, I have James Cameron's Aliens. Back-to-back Camerons. This is my favorite movie, like my number 1. Like if I was stuck on an island, this would be the movie I'd watch for the rest of my life. Director's cut, of course. But the theatrical cut, it's just a shorter film, no biggies. But the thing is, this was the first movie of the franchise that I did watch. So Alien 3 was pretty much my Empire Strikes Back. And then in itself was an amazing follow-up, Alien 3. But the appeal of this movie was placed solely on the Colonial Marines. Everything else is secondary. Michael Biehn is the man. Ellen Ripley is the ultimate badass. And Sigourney Weaver received an Academy Award nomination for this role. This movie, and deservedly so. She set the tone for the leading woman in an action sci-fi horror flick. We see reflections of this character in many movies. Lots of parallels in other stories. We see its influence
Resident Evil.
and impact made in cinema today. Doomsday too, I want to say. Definitely a fine piece of work and one of my ultimate favorites. Thank you, James Cameron, for making this movie.
My number 1 sequel, as good or better than the original, The Godfather Part 2. As a movie, it's a sequel, but both Part 1 and 2 of The Godfather are covered in Mario Puzo's novel, so I have a hard time seeing this as its own standalone. There's a version out there. I think HBO was airing it for a time, maybe a year back, but it is 7 hours long and it plays the events of Godfather and Godfather Part 2 chronologically. So we start off in Sicily, where young Vito Andolini witnesses his family murked by bitch-ass mafioso Don Ciccio. And from there, we follow his migration to New York via Ellis Island, where the stupid official fucks up and writes his last name down as Corleone, the place where he's from, inadvertently giving him the coolest name ever, Vito Corleone. I just love this movie. At the end, when he kills Fredo, it didn't resonate with me as much as it did with a lot of viewers. I have a brother, and we know the deal. We love each other, but if either of us tried to have the other and his family killed, it's fair game to return the favor. Sleep with the fishes, bitch. So, because this is a separate film, it, to me, is the greatest sequel of all time. For Star Wars nerds who want to hate on this, look it. Star Wars is at its core a space opera, and nobody does opera like the Italians. So leave the saber, eat a dick.
I agree with a lot of them, and of course there are a couple others that weren't listed, but would be on mine for sure.
Oh yeah, like what?
I'm curious now. What would be on your list?
Garfield, probably.
Or Oliver and Company.
Fuck you, twats. And that list is for another time and another episode. I need to be heading out of here. Let's get with it. Wrap this meat burrito to go! New Year's countdown has officially begun.
Once again, thank you all for checking out today's episode. Please tell your friends about the show. We'd love you for that. Ono will text you pics of his junk. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. You can do so on iTunes. And if you could spare the time, you'd be doing us a huge favor by rating and reviewing the show as well. Feel free to hit us up on Twitter. We love the interaction. Check us out at cynical_mass.
That's CINECAL_MASS. Same goes for Facebook and Instagram. Check out our Tumblr, cinephiles-cenobites.tumblr.com. And you can also contact us anytime through email with any questions, comments, movie recommendations, suggestions, or to say hi. Please write us, cinephilesandcenobites@gmail.com.
Happy horror days and all the best in the new fear. And as always, stay rating Oakland.
Thanks again, listeners, for checking out the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to say hi. I'm on the tweets at thisisono. That's thisisohno. Please do check out my music podcast, takingtheleadmedia.com, on Twitter at TTLM Podcast. Also, my gaming channel, search on YouTube, Give Me Seconds, on Twitter at Give Me Seconds. Have a safe and wonderful new year. Go watch movies.
Broadcasting for the Blood Cave for Nekko Media, Cinephiles and Cenobites, part of the Slashtag Podden family. I'm Monica Pussyfoot for Mox and Ono. Keep the lights on and check under that bed because there's only one universal truth. No lives matter. That means you. Have a frightful new year.
We have candy. This is a Nekko Media podcast.